If you're becoming more and more intolerant to chemicals, to smells, to fragrances in the air, it could be that your detoxification system is starting to be blocked. It's blocked, okay? And it could be because of gallstones. It could be because your liver's not functioning properly. It could be because of oxalate crystals. It could be because of mold exposure. Primarily, the number one thing that you're dealing with when you have multiple chemical sensitivity or you have sensitivity to fragrances, smells, they start to be really offensive. They give you headaches, anything like that, then you're starting to deal with possibly a mold exposure or a mycotoxin exposure within your home, okay? And the key point I want to emphasize is that it doesn't mean you have to be seeing mold all over your walls, okay? It doesn't have to be all over your walls to be able to be causing you an issue. In fact, most of the time it's invisible or it's in between the walls, and the person's actually developed a sensitivity, so it takes very, very little amounts of this mold to set them off. I went through it with myself when I was younger in my 20s. My daughter did once, for several years. We finally realized what it was because her level of it was even more severe than mine. And clearly there's a genetic aspect, or there's a aspect of, gut health issues, antibiotic damage, vaccines, all these things that could contribute to this situation, right? But the reality is the symptoms, all right, can often just be caused by mycotoxin exposure. Mycotoxin exposure. So if you are having multiple chemical sensitivity reactions and you're stuck in a loop and you're trying to just avoid the chemicals and you think the chemicals are the problem, no, they are the symptom. The chemical sensitivity, in fact, is the symptom of a bigger problem, which is that your liver is shutting down. You're probably eating way too much meat. You're eating probably meat or animal products twice a day. They're not breaking down. The amino acids are not getting into the cells because the cells are blocked off due to the mold exposure, the mycotoxin exposure. The cells are blocked off. Your body's acidic. And since the amino acids are not going into the cell, guess what? They're circulating in the blood, and now your liver has to metabolize them, and now it's even more overtaxed. And your kidneys are even more overtaxed due to the overabundance of undigested protein and amino acids that now your liver and kidneys have to deal with. So the thing you have to realize, most importantly, is you have to look into mycotoxins first and foremost, all right? I talk about different tests you can do. There's one on mymycolab.com that is one of the most accurate tests, but it's 95% definitive. If you become sensitive to the mold, it'll show there. If you had a past exposure that was significant, that traumatized your immune system, it'll show there. There's a urine test from Vibrant Wellness, which would be one that would be also an option, but to me, that's secondary. And then there's a test that's much less expensive, simply the Petri dish test at your home. All you got to do is simply put the Petri dish in your room. Get one from Armor Mold, right? It's just $10 a test. Move it around several times in the room. Do not follow the directions on the box. Move it around several times in the room. Keep it out for 6, 7, 8 hours, right? Put it under things. Sprinkle a little bit of dust from that room on it. See what grows, right? And then after 5 or 6 days of growing it, put it through AI, Chat GPT, and see what it says. Are any of these water damage molds that could be causing my chemical sensitivity symptoms, right? And this is another way to do it, but you have to test somehow. You can't discount this because 99% of the time there's a prior mold exposure, and that's causing the person to have an inability to detoxify. And then on top of that, the protein indigestion, the backup of the liver, the kidneys, the gallbladder, etc., the lymph. We get stuck in this scenario where we're reacting to everything. I have personal firsthand experience. I went through this myself. Then I got through it. After I got through it, my daughter had this, and it was even more significant, where she was having seizures, her eyes are crossed, and neurological issues from these chemicals, right? But I eventually realized that this was not caused by the chemicals, it was caused by the mold, because now she could tolerate around all these chemicals that she's around, and it's not setting her off because we've addressed the mold issue. If you have any questions, reach out to me. My website is endsickness.org. Thanks for watching.